Hey, what's up guys, it's Oakley and we're going to be having an interesting 2 versus 2 battle. It's myself playing as the vampire counts and my ally here, the lumbering Kolek Sun Eater, and his chaos compatriots are going to be moving up. So the enemy also has chaos on their side, and it's chaos in the Empire. So far I found Empire is super powerful in multiplayer. In any case, let's take a look at what is moving forward. Well, on our side for Chaos, they have a bunch of these Dragon Ogre, Shaggoth, Dragon Ogre, Shaggoth, Dragon Ogre, Shaggoth. So 3 of those. I guess it wasn't even Kolek at that point. It's actually... Where's their lord? Oh no, sorry. That is, yeah, Kolek in the center. And then they have Chaos Warriors, a bunch of Chaos Warriors, and Marauders with great weapons. So relatively small fourths, as Chaos usually is. And then I have some zombies actually going to be going ahead and kind of screening my Chaos allies' force. Meanwhile, I have bats doing feints on the Empire rocket batteries, and you saw how that forced the enemy back. The enemy Chaos force has equal mix of Marauders, Shaggoths as well, but some halberds, which we have to be wary of, and some Chaos spawn. They do have more of the mounted units than us. I'm going to go ahead and land an opportunistic strike here with my bats on some crossbowmen as they're turned around. So don't be afraid to get these quick pickups, but I did have to be careful because the Empire troops do have, you know, certain units starting to turn around. So these crossbowmen are firing at my men, but I figured it was enough to try and take these crossbowmen out. I almost managed to get them to rout, but I pulled out before I took significant damage. So on my side, what do I have? Well, I have 4 zombies, I believe. 1, 2, 3, and then 4 pushing up the front. I always find these are super cheap and very useful. They don't really rout, they just crumble, so you can force the Empire back, zone them out like I'm doing. Then I have skeleton spearmen there, a back line of grave guards, so 2 here, skeleton spearmen, and then 2 more grave guards this time with great weapons. I do have a necromancer in the center, and he is meant to just help buff and support the main push. On the right flank, I do have a Vargulf, and then my lord on the zombie dragon. Zombie dragon looking absolutely gorgeous as always. I'm watching as our force rides out. So the engagement's going to be a little slow at first. The enemy is going to try and pick away at some of my forces, and the way they're going to do this is by sending cavalry against the zombies. This is a pretty good move in the sense that you don't want the zombies getting tied up in your line, not because they'll do too much damage, but that it'll tie you up. So you want to land some nice opportunistic strikes with cavalry, which is exactly what the Empire player did. He got out of there before I could have my supporting spearmen in close contact. He got out there right at the nick of time because I was bringing in my spellcasters to do a lot of damage. But anyways, push continues. I only lost a couple zombies. Larry David here. It's a funny name for Kolek Sun Eater. He's using some of his abilities to start hitting the enemy force, which Chaos is going to respond in kind, some of its own units. And I am again going to serve as a way to just completely block this assault. And this has to be the most disturbing unit for me, just because of that. The ass crack hair on another level. I can't take these guys seriously. Anyways, Chaos is charging forward with me now that I have my zombies leading the way. We are getting hit pretty significantly with some artillery, but look at this. Shaggoths fighting each other. Kolek Sun Eater versus the other one. We're a bit outnumbered. We're getting smacked around, so this is not going to be good for us. Ooh, we've taken a freaking terrible amount of damage. I think there's direct damage spells done to him, so he's going to pull out of there. Meanwhile, take a look at what my spellcaster is doing. He's raising the dead, which is an awesome ability right behind these great swords. So just as the great swords are finishing up on my own zombies, I'm going to get them from the rear. Meanwhile, the friendly Empire artillery is not helping them out in any way. I'm also casting another spell here, right by the artillery piece, to bring some more zombies out of the ground. You can see them already starting to rise here, and then my bats are in. So I'm trying to do everything I can to suppress this force. Let's put this on slow motion, just so we can see what's happening. Ooh, and that's cool how you can see the spell come down. But anyways, the right side is being enveloped by myself. Spellcasters coming around to, raise zombies up in the rear enemy lines. We're cleaning up great swords that are exposed. Vargolf going to be trying to go around here, although it's guarded by Demigryph Knights, which are super powerful. So that's why I'm bringing some zombies and other cheap units to blunt that assault. My zombie dragon is continuing to circle, and now I'm bringing up my reserves. On this flank, I actually have a couple more troops. Vargolf with 2 Graveguard units, and we have a Shaggoth here, and this is kind of what's keeping Chaos at bay. Chaos has too many forces uncommitted, whereas our Chaos forces are helping to double team the Empire and hold down the center. Put this on play. So I'm doing everything I can to cast my spells. Zombies to keep them occupied, and then over here I'm casting all sorts of direct damage or debuffs on these Empire swordsmen just to have Chaos sweep through here, and the reinforcements are going to get obliterated by that Shaggoth. God, Chaos units are so cool. Making mincemeat of these forces. Oh, and he's bending down, winding up, and bam. See if the Empire gets any shots. No, it's going to continue to fire onto the Chaos Warriors. So you can tell we're closing in on the Empire ranks. A lot of them are routing. Luminarch of Hysh going down before it can deal too much damage to us. On the right, we're continuing to have a staring contest, which is fine for my purposes. I want us to win the center, where it's kind of going to shit here. So we're going to get Kolek in the mix against the enemy Kolek, I believe. Oh, no, that's just a regular Shaggoth. Two Shaggoths in here just beating up on Chaos Warriors. Seeing who can get the favor of the Dark Gods. Meanwhile, my caster here continuing to do buffs. You can see the mana Winds of Magic are all the way pretty much at the bottom. I'm saving up for another spell, which I'm going to start to cast on this group here. But we're doing pretty well. I've tied up the enemy force with my Graveguard. Demigryph Knight's doing a lot of damage. But we've cleaned up everything in the rear. And my Vargolf is joining the Shaggoth in the rear, just cleaning up the rear of the enemy lines. Crossbowmen are no match. And my Lord here is actually taking some direct damage from Balthazar Gelt. Balthazar Gelt walked right up to my zombie dragon as he was trying to cast spells, and he got counteracted. And so he's doing some direct damage to me. Not good. Leech Spirit, I am losing so much health. I think they tag team me with the wizard here also casting spells. So my zombie dragon is reeling with that hit from both of them. And I have a bad tendency in multiplayer to expose my lords. And look at how far he's fallen. Same with my ally. So we're trying to keep our lords out of combat. But what that's going to do is allow the enemy to start tipping it a little bit in their favor. Although, while I do say that this side has been completely obliterated, Balthazar is flying away. Back by the main fight over here, where we have these forces all tied up. The enemy is starting to win out somewhat. We've lost our infantry, but our Shaggoth is still in there. On the right side, where I had my infantry, we just tore through the Marauders. The Graveguard are actually really good troops, especially with the great weapons. They'll just tear through anything. The Warhounds are running away from my Vampire. Vargolf coming in after this. God, that unit is so cool. Kind of goofy looking, but cool nonetheless. And so now it's kind of the cleanup phase at this point. Although, I am getting in a battle with Balthazar. With the last little remaining HP of health that I have. I had no counter to Balthazar and any flying spellcasters. So this is very bad for me. And I do go ahead and lose my dragon here. He's trying to fight it out. But the health is super low. Critical binding. And he's going to get knocked out with the last blow. So there goes my zombie dragon, slayed by Balthazar, and there he goes running back off into the distance. So as the vampire counts, this is the last thing you want happening to you. You'll notice instantly a lot of my zombies, critical binding, are losing a lot of their binding. They're going to be falling apart with the demigryphs in here, and if they take out my vampire necromancer here as well, it could be very, very troublesome. So I'm going to try and pull him back through my zombies to save him. The enemy lord knows that this is a key moment, so here he comes, Balthazar being the most annoying little git in this battle. basically being a Lord Slayer, knowing he has no real counters. And so I'm trying to buff the zombies, trying to get them in here to save my Necromancer, but it doesn't look like it's going to be the case, and boom, I lose a second Lord. Now, like I was saying, this is going to be bad for my infantry, so let's go ahead and take a look at my infantry up over here. Lord dead, but still somehow having strong binding, so not as damaging. Some of mine, which are lower, are going to be falling apart, but luckily I have my Vargulfs still up and running, and even though these guys have, you know, the Lord is dead, they have very good binding, and so they're not necessarily going to fall apart, whereas most of your force would be liable to. Oh my god, he's just eating a eating a Chaos Warrior. Just pummeling them. So we have tons of forces kind of scattered all over the place. I can't believe this battle is still going on. It was kind of due to the Wizards and Chaos Lords being stuck in here, and they have a couple troops remaining. Yep, the Chaos Exalted Hero pulling out of there. Demigryph Knights are almost always going to be some of the last units remaining on the battlefield. And Balthazar Gelt still thinking he can pull this one out, but I mean, look, lumbering in the distance, you just have giant monsters chasing after men. And so there is not enough manpower left for the ranks of men to take them out. And there you go, Pyrrhic victory. So we lost a lot of guys, obviously. I mean, that is kind of the gist of the vampire counts. We can go ahead and end this and take a look at some of the troops deployed and losses. I mean, look at that. I deployed 1,300 and I lost all but 272. So I lost 1,000 men, which is what's to be expected for the vampire counts. Overall, most of the kills going to the Vargulfs and Graveguards with great weapons. Like I said, this should be your core when you do vampires. Zombies getting almost no kills, but that's fine. That's what they're intended to do, is just allow me to close the distance. And then my Vampire Lords not doing too much. It's already not clear how the Vampire Lords stats are counted. Like, I'm pretty sure Gelt got more kills, but look at that for the Empire. Demigryph Knights are a must bring for the Empire. They're super strong at the moment, maybe even requiring some sort of nerfing, because I've seen them do tremendous kills in every single battle. Great swords as well. If you bring a build with great swords and Demigryph Knights and a couple gunners, I mean, as Empire, you're pretty much undefeated, unbeatable. Chaos, I found, usually doesn't do too well. It just has such few units. I mean, 687 here. Basically, both of these forces not doing anything incredible. Shaggoths, I think, paying for themselves for our side, matched up against Chaos here. Yeah, both of the Shaggoths getting a lot of kills. But overall, I mean, the Marauders I found are pretty throwaway. Even the Chaos Warriors don't do that well against some of the more elite troops like the Chosen. So for Chaos, it's a tough call. Do you want to go for the more cost-effective, expensive guys? But then that reduces your army ranks even further. So I think Chaos does pair pretty well with armies like the Vampire Counts, which you can just flood the battlefield with cheap troops, allow Chaos to come in and get the cost-effective kills. Empire pairs well pretty nicely too, mostly because they can have a lot of cheap troops, spear lines and all that, and also cost-effective Demigryph Knights. So these are interesting combinations to see thrown together. But that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Peace out.